An atheist named Rebecca Watson has posted a video on YouTube called, quote, "The Judeo-Christian Lie," unquote, in which she claims, among other things, that Hitler was a Christian. That is completely false, and she presents no evidence to back up her claim. The truth is that there is not one single respectable history professor who believes Hitler was a Christian. Even Steven Pinker, a prominent Harvard psychology professor who is not the least bit religious, admits on page 154 of his book, The Blank Slate, that Hitler was opposed to Christianity. Just look at the critically acclaimed 2-volume biography of Hitler that was written by a prominent history professor named Ian Kershaw. His name is spelled I-A-N space K-E-R-S-H-A-W, in case you want to look up his books in the card catalog of your local library. His biography of Hitler says nothing about Hitler going to church or going to confession or having any kind of religious life. Surely Kershaw would have mentioned something about Hitler's religious life if he had had one. The first volume of Kershaw's biography of Hitler was published in 1998 and the second volume in 2000, so Rebecca Watson could have consulted them to get the facts about Hitler's life if she had wanted to. Hitler was not a churchgoer, nor, as near as I can tell, were any of his top advisors and assistants. If there was any evidence that they were, surely the militant atheists would talk about that frequently. 3 of Hitler's top assistants, Alfred Rosenberg, Heinrich Himmler, and Martin Bormann, openly said in speeches that they were anti-Christian. You can read about that on page 156 of a book called 20th Century Journey, The Nightmare Years, 1930 to 1940, by a famous journalist named William Shirer, who covered Nazi Germany for CBS Radio News. His name is spelled S-H-I-R-E-R if you want to look him up in the card catalog of your local library. Saul Friedlander, a history professor at UCLA who was considered one of the world's leading experts on the Holocaust, won the Pulitzer Prize years ago for a massive book about the Holocaust called The Years of Extermination, Nazi Germany and the Jews, 1939 to 1945. Friedlander's name is spelled S as in Sam, A-U-L, space, F as in Frank, R-I-E-D-L-A-N-D-E-R, if you want to look him up in the card catalog of your public library. Friedlander talks about Christianity and Nazism on page 55 of that book, and again on page 203, and he says Hitler and the other high-ranking Nazis detested Christianity. If you look up Pope Pius XI in Wikipedia, you will also see that in 1937 he issued a pastoral letter to the German people called Mitbrennender Sorge, in which he denounced Nazism. You can also read about Mitbrennender Sorge in the book The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by William Shirer. Just go to the index and look up the pages that mention Pope Pius XI. Did Hitler mend his ways after being denounced by the Pope? Of course not. Hitler was not a Christian, and he did not care what the Pope or any other clergyman thought about him. And look at the fact that Hitler had 2,762 German clergymen and nuns arrested and imprisoned in the Dachau concentration camp. A third of them died there. You can read about this in an article written by the famous historian Istvan Diak in the November 5, 2001 issue of New Republic magazine, one of the most highly respected magazines in the United States. If Hitler was a Christian, as Rebecca Watson claims, why did he do that? The answer is obvious. Hitler was not a Christian. Rebecca Watson should face that fact.